Welcome to the Offshore Club's most riveting and revealing offshore lifestyle podcast, Open Mike, with Mike Cobb. For more than 20 years, Mike has worked and lived in Caribbean countries from north to south and the Atlantic to the Pacific. Nobody knows it better. And now, here is your offshore ambassador at large, Mike Cobb.
Hi, this is Carib Carter, and first of all, Merry Christmas week. We're here. We've waited all year, and it's almost here. So Merry Christmas, and welcome to Mike Cobb's Offshore Investment Report. Mike Cobb is, to me, not just an offshore investor. He is the offshore investor. So let me welcome him in now because we have a great topic to discuss.
Hey,
Mike,
Carter, how are you? Merry
good.
Christmas, man.
Are you first and most important, are you ready for Santa Claus at this point?
I've been a good boy this year. Yes.
You have definitely been you have definitely been a good boy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Everything's in place. Is that the chimney in the background there he'll be coming down, or
that's the old porch, actually.
Oh,
My office is part of the old house, but then also part of the porch, and they added on to the home. By the way, I live in you guys know I live in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and my home is a relatively new home. It was built in 1925. So 4 more years, we're going to have the centennial celebration of the home here. So we're going to have a little party. I'm going to bring in a bluegrass band. We're going to have some fun and barbecue. So I look forward to having you and Rachel and Brian, who's producing the program here, all over for some barbecue and some bluegrass for the 100-year celebration of the home.
Hot dog! I can't wait. It is just great, and I know a lot of our viewers are very grateful. As you know, I own a home in West Virginia as well.
Yep.
So one of my part-time senators is the man who stopped the Build Back Broke bill that Biden tried to push through. So we both have a senator who stood up, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. So fantastic. So folks, you're going to have more money to invest. And that's what we're going to talk about today, specifically teak.
Teak
woods.
Yep. Okay.
Teak hardwoods. You and I first talked about teak hardwoods had to be 7 or 8 years ago. I think I wrote a direct mail package or something.
You did.
And it's when I first learned that you have. First, let me say, folks, teak hardwoods are one of the best investments in the world. Let me correct if I'm wrong, Mike. I consider them a long-term investment,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
but a solid investment. Here's from the ECI Development, Mike's company's website. John Malone, former CEO of Telecommunications Inc., one of the world's wealthiest people, owns 2.2 million acres of teak wood timber.
Timber, not teak specifically.
Timber of woods, right?
Timber, right. And we point to the case study of timber, more generally. Look, a lot of these folks own teak as well, right? But what's interesting, Carter, is if you look at timber generally, right, as an investment class, what you find is, the wealthiest people in the world, they have their family offices. They don't directly own it. They own it inside trusts and family offices and all kinds of stuff, right? Or big endowments, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, these big endowments also own a lot of timber. And so, it was, and it's really incredible. I mean, it is a powerful investment that really escapes what I would call the normal investor, the common investor, because the timelines are so long, right? And I've got a couple examples on that point, but I remember right here in Shepherdstown. So I bought a home here in the year 2000. It's about 90 miles west of Washington D.C. We're outside the swamp. So it's nice. But I can be to Dulles Airport in 1 hour, which is why I love living here. So I can drive, get in my car, be at the airport in 1 hour, fly anywhere in the world. Right, a lot of nonstop flights, so it's very convenient. But I was in the Rotary Club, which meets right across the street at the Bavarian Inn, when I was looking for the property in Panama back in 1998, 1999. We actually bought it and planted the teak in 1999. But I remember in like 98, 99, we're looking for the property, and people at the Rotary meeting, you know, we'd have breakfast before the meeting started, right? And they would be like, Cobb, are you insane? What are you thinking, man? Why are you like 25 years? Like, you got to be crazy. Well, the answer that I came up with, it took me a couple tries to get there, but the answer I came up with was, look, in 25 years, I'm either going to A, need the money and be really glad I did this, or B, I'm not going to need the money and I'm going to be really glad I did this. Well,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And we're at year 21 now, Carter. So 21 years have gone by. I'm really glad I did this. Where, you know, COVID kind of pushed things back because we couldn't do the maintenance on the plantations for a couple of years. So but we didn't lose the investment. We just lost 2 years of time. So instead of cutting them down in 25 years, we're going to cut them down in 27 years, right? So we add 2 years to the back end so we're doing the maintenance this year. Next year, 22. We'll do the maintenance in 22. Then we'll give them another 5 years to grow. So we'll cut them down in 26, 27. And right. And we'll have this, and we're going to make a ton of money. Then we're going to plant it again. And, and we're going to, you know, I put mine in my trust, right? So like, you know, 25 more years, would that be 30 years from now, right? My kids will get the harvest, right? And then it'll get planted again. And in 25 years after that, their kids, my grandkids will get the harvest, right? And this is why the wealthiest families and why the endowments make this investment, because it is a powerful, powerful way to steward wealth into future generations. It's
really, we're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about a legacy investment.
Yeah.
So let me back up. Let me back up here. And folks, when Mike, when you mentioned some of these big endowment funds, Harvard devotes 10% of their endowment just to timber, just to timber, because they know the long-term returns. Right. So let's look at your investment as much as you can tell us about it. Okay.
Sure.
So you said 23 years ago, you made the investment. You decided, I'm going to put the money into some teak hardwoods, a forest, woods, right?
Right.
You planted all right.
We planted the trees in 1999, June, July of 99. So 21 years, right? 22 years.
22 years. Knowing you're looking at a 25-year return now because of the COVID business, 27 years. But
whatever.
What kind of, if you can tell us, what kind of return are you looking at? What kind of return are you looking at?
Yeah. No, you know, the internal rate of return is somewhere between 9 and 13% on teak. I'm being very specific to teak timber, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Somewhere between 9 and 13% IRR. But again, over 25 years. So if you can get an internal rate of return, you know, in anywhere in that, you know, 9, 10, 11, 12 range, like you're kicking it, man. There are very few things that will generate over 25 years an IRR of 10. Let's just call it 10 because it's an easy number, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and the really nice thing about it is, look, lots of things have, you know, up and down sector, you know, the sector's stock market, right? You might get a great IRR for 3 to 4 years, then you have a you know, bear market for a while, and you know, right? The nice thing with timber, which is why I think so many people in these family offices really like it, is that it just literally grows. The trees literally grow every year, right? Yeah. And if you look at teak, because I know these numbers off the top of my head, if you look over the last 100 years, the price of teak historically on average for a 100-year average has gone up about 5.5% a year. So not only are the trees themselves physically growing more wood every year, which is the price of teak has grown at about 5.5% a year over the last 100 years. I mean, some years it's way up. I'm sure last year with the inflation, you know, and the supply chain stuff, it might have gone up 200% last year. But, you know, it's probably come down 150%. You know, I mean, like in any one year, it's up, down, all over the place. It's a commodity, right? But over a 100-year track record, right, it's up 5.5% a year. The thing that has kept the small investors, what I would call the common man investors out, is that it was always, you had to invest hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to like make a plantation. Because
hold on, Mike. Hold on. I want to make something clear before you get to that point, because
sure,
every one of these points, folks, is vital to your financial future. So I want to make a point here. When you say the 10% return per annum on the teak investment, right. I know some of you people out there are saying, well, that's pretty much the average of a mutual fund. It's not. It's not. The average universal, I happen to know this, the average university endowment fund has a return of 4 to 5% per year. Fact of the matter. So we're talking double. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make that clear to folks. It's a huge return.
Sure, Carter. And, and again, if you look at things over a 25-year period, it's hard to find something that generates an internal rate of return, right? I mean, not the total return, but the internal rate of return, right? That's a compounding rate of return every year for 25 years, right? And that's hard to get, right? That's really, really hard. The reason that most investors have stayed away from it is that in order to get into the business of timber, you really are looking at hundreds of thousands, probably more like millions of dollars of investment, because there's no economy of scale to do it on an acre. Yeah. Right? How do you hire a forestry management company to take care of an acre of land? Like you can't, right? And in the US, you're really talking about hundreds, if not thousands of acres to have any kind of economy of scale. The beautiful thing about a country like Panama, because labor's a lot less, like you can actually get economy of scale around 100 acres, which is what our farm was. We bought a 100-acre cattle pasture basically and turned it into a teak forest, which it is today. And we're doing it again with in fact, we've got 15-year-old teak now. We've got a whole new piece of property we just purchased that's for baby teak. We, new in the ground, kind of, we're going to plant this spring. So again, we understand the power of this, but the nice thing is that folks can buy, a quarter acre at a time. And so we've made timber investment very, very accessible for what I'm going to call the average investor. And by the way, nobody watching this is an average investor. I think if you're watching this, you are way beyond average, of course. Yes. But what I would say, the smaller investor, because again, if you might have $150,000, $200,000, $500,000 you want to invest, but would you want to put it all in one investment? No, that would not be wise, right? No. But again, by breaking up the plantation into smaller parcels, it's now accessible to an investment amount, under $10,000 for the baby teak, right? So it's very, very accessible for a much wider audience.
So I can right now, invest $10,000 with ECI Development. Right.
Well, with Hardwoods, it's a separate company. It's a timber. It's our timber company. Yeah.
Well, before I get to my finished question, how do I make the investment? Because I was going to tell them go ecidevelopment.com/teak-agriculture-land. There's got to be an easier way.
Did you just make that up?
It's off your website.
It's off my website. All right. Well, then it's probably good. I don't know. Yeah, use that one. Use that one. And
all right.
Thank you, Carter. I don't know.
Run it on the bottom. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so put it there. So that's an active link. If you got it off the website, it works. It's active. But what we've done is we've split our forestry because we outsource the management of the plantation separately, right? It's its own thing. So so run that link. It'll get somebody connected up with one of our property consultants who can then provide all the details, the business plan, everything that somebody would need to know about it. Yeah.
Perfect. So let's go back now before I interrupted you to with the website. You didn't recognize.
Now, that was a mouthful, by the way. Yeah.
It was. I had trouble with it. Let's go back to the $10,000 investment. Can I actually invest $10,000 and get a quarter acre of teak wood forest at this point?
I think it's under 8,000. I don't remember what it is. It's $7,900. I don't know, something like that. But yeah. So for about $8,000, a little less than $8,000, you can have a quarter acre. You own the land. You get title to the land. The trees are yours. So right, you own it. It's physically it's part of a management program, and at the end of 20,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and again, you look. By the way, it's your land, and they're your trees, right? If you say, "Hey, look, I don't want any part of your management program. I'll take care of them myself," no problem. You're free to do that. It's yours, right?
Can I build a tree house in them?
You can do anything you want on your land. Yeah. No, I mean, the only challenge is if you want to do it as an investment, then you need to be part of our management program. And because the trees will then become certified as well as part of a reforestation program. So, I think 100% of our people have basically done that because, I mean, they're doing it for the investment, right? But if you said, hey, I just want a quarter-acre land and I want trees planted and I want to build a tree house and I'm never going to cut them down, right? I'm not going to manage them. It's your land, it's your trees. Do whatever you want. But yes, Carter, you plug it in. We have a management company. Again, it's professional forestry management company that takes care of the trees for the next 25 years. Pays the property taxes. I mean, how are you going to pay your property taxes from wherever? I mean,
So that's it.
Hyattsville, Maryland, or something.
So let's say it's $8,000. I invest it, and then I wait 25 years, and I'm getting around 10% per annum.
Yeah, it's about 90 grand. It's about 90 grand at the end of 25 years.
That's an incredible investment. Now, obviously, let's put this in perspective. For me, at 75 years old, that probably is not an investment I'm going to make, even though my grandfather did live to be 100. I want to point that out.
Right.
But at $190,000 for a 100-year-old, probably I'm not going to live it up to. But I have a wife who is considerably younger than me, like 5 decades. So for her, it's an incredible, my getting that for her is an incredible investment.
Yep.
It guarantees her, not guarantees, there's no guarantees in investment.
Correct. Right.
It has the promise of a $90,000 in 25 years, which, and it'll actually be more than that with inflation and everything, but that's the base.
Yeah, right. On today's dollars, right? We always talk about today's dollars, right?
Which is a remarkable return on investment for her.
Yeah.
That's a remarkable.
And then, Carter, the trees are going to get cut down. They're going to get replanted, and she'll probably be around for the second harvest.
Yes, she will. Yes,
she'll be around for the second harvest.
Yes.
And at that point, if y'all have kids or whatever, you pass it on to the kids, or if you don't, leave it to a foundation or something, right? Because again, it's just going to keep going on and on and on forever. It is a 25-year cash flow cycle machine.
It's fantastic. It is a great, I work with a lot of investment advisors, as you know, with other companies.
Yeah.
This is a great investment. This is a great, solid investment. And I think it is a fairly inflation proof, right? I mean,
theoretically, yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's a commodity. So, right. Yeah. And the other thing, and it's important to note, I've always been a conservationist. I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania. I hunt, I fish, I ski. I love being outdoors, and I really do care about the environment. I would never call myself a tree hugger because I think that's kind of extreme. But I love the environment and I want to protect the environment. And when you can take things like a cattle pasture, an abandoned cattle pasture, no less, right, and you can turn it into a forest, you're really doing some great things for the environment. The other thing that's happening is the rate of harvest from sustainable teak. I mean, they're doing illegal logging, in Southeast Asia too, but even that's getting, really some tightening up, some significant tightening up. The fact that they're harvesting sustainably, managed plantations at a rate of 8 times the amount of replanting. It is phenomenal. So you talk about inflation proof. If you just look at the law of supply and demand, right? And these things are in balance. They're out of balance. I mean, as the price of teak soars at some point, and it probably will, if they're cutting it 8 times faster than they're replanting it, then the supply demand the curve is out of balance, and supply demand, the economics will bring it into balance. But that might be 10 years from now or 15 years from now. So there'll be this period of, really, I think, outsized returns just simply from a supply-demand imbalance in the market.
And the wealthy are always going to want teak.
Oh, yeah.
They build their yachts out of teak.
Absolutely. Furniture, deck furniture, patio, flooring, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting at a pressed sawdust desk, but the wealthy don't do that.
No, the wealthy don't do that. That's
they
right.
do not do that. They have teak. They have teak. So tell us, I know we've only got a few minutes left, so tell us, where are you have teak forests in Panama and I think also Nicaragua.
In Nicaragua, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, the other thing I'll mention is you know, these teak parcels, especially the ones in Nicaragua, are easy to pair up with a residency. They are in Panama too. There's just a price difference. Don't hold me to these prices, Carter. I'm close on them. If you make a $30,000 teak investment in Nicaragua, which is, you know, 5 parcels, you are eligible to pick up a residency there. In Panama, the laws it changed. It went up to $200,000 for a while. Now they've got a reforestation visa that's around $100,000. So again, you know, an investment in I don't know how many parcels that would be, 15 or something, whatever that math is, but $100,000 worth of teak parcels would qualify you for a residency in Panama as well. So kind of 2 different levels there that are available. And, you know, a lot of people look at the residency as a plan B, right? That's just, you know, it's a plan B. You know, obviously you're making the teak investment for the investment, but if you can pick up a residency, you know, and that's cheap. I mean, the residency paperwork might add another $5,000 to it. So, you know, so for 35 or 105, you know, you can get a residency in one of these countries. And I think if you make the investment in teak to a level where you qualify for the residency, spend the extra $5,000 in legal fees and government fees and stuff like that, and get the residency, because then you actually have that plan B. You know, you have your residency somewhere else, and that's a pretty important thing.
In closing, let me make a recommendation to everyone, folks. Buy the 30,000, which would be how many? 3 parcels. Three parcels of land in Nicaragua, right? 10,000.
Well, no, I think there's 7,000 and change. So it's either 4 or 5 parcels.
Okay,
but whatever.
So 5 parcels of land. Then you own it. It's a great investment. The return on investment is phenomenal. And then buy a home in Nicaragua at Grand Pacifica at the GrandPacifica.com, which is a Mike Cobb community, which means it's top of the line, all the amenities, and you can go watch your trees grow.
Absolutely.
You cannot see that. You can literally say that your money is growing on the trees and you're watching it.
I was just out there driving around the plantation about 2 weeks ago, Carter. It's amazing. Teak trees grow so quickly, and they really do create a beautiful forest as well. So yeah, I would love to. Hey, by the way, you don't have to, I mean, love to have folks own a home and become one of our neighbors, but at any point, I mean, come down and visit. I mean, hit that website and tell us you want to come down and see the teak. And we've got tours a couple, 3 times a year that, you know, they're a lot of fun, bunch of fun loving people to say they're, you know, we're going to come down, we're going to look at trees, and then we have a great time. So yeah, that's a great way to get your feet dirty a little bit. Great.
And I'm going to throw in one extra bonus. See if you agree. If they buy now, folks, buy now, 1-800-BUY-TEAK now, and you will get invited to Mike's 100-year celebration at the farm in West Virginia.
There you go, Carter. Yeah, hey, you know what? We got a beautiful hotel right across the street. So yeah, love to. Hey, the barbecue's on me, man. Absolutely.
Right, I love it. I love it. All right, folks. Mike, thank you very much.
Thanks, Carter.
Great. Right. Great stuff, folks. Merry Christmas to everybody.
For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Mike Cobb, visit offshore.club today. Offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.